It's no secret that starting a business is hard. Even if you have an amazing idea, bringing it to life can feel overwhelming. With HubSpot's new entrepreneurship kit, though, you can go from idea to IPO with the help of a company that knows a thing or two about growing better. The all-inclusive kit gives you step-by-step guidance and frameworks to help you crush every stage of starting a business, with tools tailored to help all along the entrepreneurial journey. It's packed with templates for project management, email, and skill development. Wow, that's a lot of templates. There's also a solopreneur guide. It's got freelance pricing worksheets and lots more you can get up and running immediately. And best of all, it's free. With expert guidance and frameworks from HubSpot, starting a business doesn't have to be so hard. So don't wait to start yours. Go to HubSpot.com/ENT to download the guide right now. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Monday, August 26th. I'm John Weigell here with Samantha Meller, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Social media is the most important tool for marketing in 2024. Companies can make or break their sales by how they utilize TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. So today, we're taking a look at 3 startups who are absolutely smashing their social presence, and we'll break it down how you can apply these strategies to your business or your brand. We'll be discussing all of this with Samantha Meller. She's the social lead here at The Hustle and just got her MBA from NYU. But before that, let's give you the hits and headlines today in business and tech. Starting off, NASA will be keeping its 2 astronauts in space until February now, saying the journey back aboard Boeing's Starliner is a bit too risky. The pilots, who have been stranded at the International Space Station since June, will catch a ride in 2025 with SpaceX. Next, Subway's footlongs, if ordered online, will now cost about $7 through September 8th, as the fast food chain joins others in trying to lure customers back with deals. Amazon rolled out an annual grocery subscription plan, about $20 cheaper than the monthly plan it launched this spring. Both offer unlimited delivery on orders over $35, among some other perks. And finally, Zoom launched Zoom Docs, allowing free users to share documents with up to 10 others. Like everything else these days, it's got an AI companion that can also summarize and generate text, so woohoo. All right, today, as mentioned above, we are digging into some of the best startup social accounts with our Hustle social lead, Samantha Meller. Welcome for the first time to the podcast, Samantha.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you. And of course, flex some of your knowledge on us about social media, because since you've been here, you've done some crazy cool stuff with the Hustle social accounts. So I thought it would be great to bring you on and talk about how some people could learn from you, or how some people could also learn from some of these brands that you've done a little research on, have been seeing perform very well in the social space. So why don't we get started here? Let's break into one of the first brands you brought to the table. And of course, a disclaimer here, you are not working with any of these brands.
Nope, very much not.
You have just seen them do very well in their categories on social, and that's a great thing. So if we could start with Crown Affair, the first brand that you brought to me today, what kind of products does Crown Affair sell?
So Crown Affair is a luxury hair care brand that I have recently learned about and purchased a few of their products from. And I absolutely love what they're up to. I love the ethos of the brand. They really try to focus on materials that are going to bring you your best hair. I think hair care is one of those things that is often overlooked, or you kind of think of these traditional, not necessarily dinosaur brands, but these brands that have been around forever.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people just kind of forget how to have good, healthy hair, Yeah. So I love what they've been doing on social media. And again, I'm very much not getting paid for this. I wish I was, but I'm not, I swear. Not only do they have the really great products that they really stand by, I think that comes across on their social channels in a way that doesn't make you feel like you're being sold to. People are smart. People know when they're being sold to. They know when they're being advertised to.
Right.
And I think for a brand like Crown Affair, their whole ethos and art direction and creative direction of the brand is to really showcase what the products can actually do for you and give you kind of that aspirational vibe of if you use these products, here's what you're going to be. Here's how you're going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the kind of person that you can become. And I think for a lot of people, that's really enticing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like what you mentioned about how they're so different than your kind of run-of-the-mill legacy brands in the same category. And that's going to be a big theme today.
Totally.
For example, when you think of hair care, at least I, as a 30-year-old dude, think L'Oreal, Tresemme,
Exactly.
all of these drugstore, CVS, Target
Right.
brands
Exactly what I was thinking.
that you
Strolling
see.
through the aisles of CVS trying to find like a $10 shampoo, which absolutely, it works
Sure.
if that's what you need and that's what you're looking for. No harm in that, absolutely. But I think for people that are looking to really dive into how do I really take care of this thing in the best way possible, I think a brand like Crown Affair does that really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And on their social accounts, what in particular do they do extremely well to kind of lure people in and kind of reach their target audience? Because I feel like a lot of brands want to get into social media and organic content creation, but what do they do that's special?
So, they really do have great products and they stand by them. And I think because of that, they were able to gain traction on social media in a very organic way. Like I kept seeing the brand on TikTok being mentioned by not even necessarily big influencers or creators, but just like everyday people who are like, oh, I swear by their dry shampoo. And like, it really is that good. It really does live up to the hype. But you see these things on social media again and again, and you start realizing like, oh, this is a brand that people are talking about. Why is that? So I think that has really helped contribute to like the hype and the buzz around the brand because they really do believe in what they're doing. And I think also one of the other things that they do really well is they're really leveraging their founder.
Mm-hmm.
So their founder is an incredible woman named Diana Cohen. And she, I think, has built such an incredible brand and incredible social media presence. So she will also go on her own personal TikTok and make videos, on a regular basis about the products that she's using in a way that feels very organic. Again, it doesn't feel like an ad, even though, of course, the intention is we want you to buy this product. Like I said, people know when they're being sold to. And I think that this also kind of speaks to a larger trend of a lot of these D2C startups are leveraging their social media kind of friendly founders, so to speak, in a way that they become the face of the brand. People feel really connected to them. They want to get to know them a little bit. They want to see what goes on behind the scenes. They want to feel that they kind of have a personal vetted interest in the brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of one-to-one relatability seems to be a big thing in a lot of these new brands and how they kind of connect with their audience. And having your founder on your socials seems to be a great idea to directly connect. And obviously in not like an advertising way.
It's that fine line of the founder really feels like me. They're so relatable, but also aspirational. They have a product or a mission or a brand that you're like, oh, wow, I want that.
Right.
Every brand, of course, wants to sell you something, but they're also trying to solve a problem. And that problem in a lot of these cases is making you feel better about something.
Totally. And, from there, I wanted to move to the next brand that you brought up, Summer Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving kind of from hair care to skincare.
Yeah.
Similar markets, but actually very different when you break it down. So how does this skincare brand, Summer Fridays, stand out on social media comparatively? How does Summer Fridays really sell their stuff on TikTok?
So, Summer Fridays is sold at Sephora, and I think they're really in tune with what their customers want. From a social and from a brand perspective, of course, their feed on Instagram is like very aesthetic, very well curated. But I think what they really do well is they use social media to inform their products and inform their strategy. So for example, last year they had released this limited edition iced coffee flavor lip balm. And if you know anything about Summer Fridays, their lip balms are like this cult favorite thing.
Wow.
The Summer Fridays lip balm is such a thing. And that's kind of like the crux of all of this is they have these almost hero products that go viral on social media that everyone loves, everyone obsesses over, they collect, and it kind of just snowballs and spirals from there. So they had one of these, limited edition iced coffee flavor lip balms. And over the last few months, the drop had ended essentially, and they brought it back in the beginning of June. Mm-hmm. They brought it back right before the summer started. And it was all over my TikTok at the time because everyone wanted to get their hands on it. I have one. I'm like such a sucker for these things. I know I'm being marketed to, and I'm still the target audience.
You of all people. Like, no.
I really do. I see it and I'm like, oh, I need that. So yeah, I think they do such a great job at listening to their customers on social, listening to what they want, and then releasing them in a really smart way. And again, like early summer, it's iced coffee season. They knew what they were doing there. Right. They really leveraged their founder as well, Mariana Hewitt. She is so smart, so hardworking. And I think just does a really great job at like being the face of the brand. And that will continue to kind of be a reoccurring theme. A lot of the startups right now that are really crushing it on social are able to leverage their founders in a way that helps people feel really connected to the brand in a way that they probably weren't before.
Yeah, and it sounds like in addition to being active and posting, they are also listening very actively, which is a very important part of it because they decided to relaunch that iced coffee lip balm after so much fanfare. So
Totally.
I would like to know a little bit more about the last one, which is Ring Concierge, which, obviously first one, hair care, second one, skincare. This is jewelry.
Yep.
A little bit more of a luxury item and a little bit more of a pricier item.
Totally.
So how does a brand like that go about their social marketing? I'm sure it's very aesthetic as well, but what additionally do they do to kind of find their audience and get those purchases of those more expensive items?
So Ring Concierge is another one of those brands that's very like, I wouldn't necessarily say if you know, because they are very big, but it's very like if you're in tune with that industry, everyone's talking about Ring Concierge. Like it is kind of like the it girl brand of jewelry right now. You're nodding your head. I'm sure your fiance is very familiar with that.
Yes, we've discussed.
See, thank you for proving the point right there. Totally. So yeah, I think that they, again, are very, very smart and very strategic at what they do. And not to sound like a broken record here, but as you might guess, they are leveraging their founder. They're putting Nicole Wegman, who is the founder of the brand, as the face of the brand. She is hopping on stories all the time. It almost feels slightly like her personal account mixed with business. And they do that in a way that feels so seamless. It feels like you're watching stories of your friend who just so happens to have great taste in jewelry and own and run a multi-million-dollar diamond and jewelry business. And I think that's what really stands out. And again, this kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying before, especially about a brand like Crown Affair, is that they really believe in and they stand by their products. They have products, as we were just saying, that people, love looking at and watching videos of and DMing to their friends and being like, oh, I need this. And I think what's interesting about the brand overall is that, Nicole started it and, it was kind of unheard of that there was a woman in the diamond and jewelry industry starting a brand like this. Traditionally, that industry has been really dominated by men. And she came in to kind of, quote unquote, disrupt the industry and create jewelry that women actually want and not just what men think that women might want. So I think that has really helped them leverage their social strategy in a way that feels like, look, we know what you want and we're going to show you.
Yeah. So it seems like we have a collection of things already, which is leveraging the founder, knowing your audience really well, listening really well, and also some timed launches. Something else I wanted to know, and maybe the last thing we can hit on, is for anybody listening, for anybody that's looking to take their brand or take their product and push it to a wider audience, what are the benefits and the drawbacks of making either very, very high quality content or very, very low quality production value? Because all of these brands seem to do a little bit of both.
Yeah, I love this question. So there's a few things here. I think to some degree, it does depend on the brand. I think for brands like the three that we just talked about, they absolutely have a really smart creative vision and creative direction that completely kind of mirrors the ethos of the brand. And that's what you see on social media. But at the same time, I think that the best brands overall in social right now don't feel too overdone. I mean, not for nothing, but even if you take a look at, the Hustle's Instagram, these days, it doesn't really feel overly produced or overly designed. And that's very intentional. So I think that, like I said before, people know when they're being sold to. They like looking at pretty things, but they don't necessarily always want to feel like someone's trying to be like, hey, what's your credit card information? And I think that's really where the fine line is stay true to your brand and showcase what the value is there, but don't knock your customers over the head with buy this right now. You don't want it to kind of feel like a giant neon sign.
Right.
So it's a fine line for sure. But I think that those three brands in particular, and many, many more, this is just, a small sample size, but I think that they do a really great job at finding that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is that interesting line of do a lot, but don't do too much, because then nobody will want to buy your things because you're always in their face and you're always talking to them.
For sure.
But you kind of have to find that balance, which is kind of another thing that these brands do so well, it seems.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not, but that's why you hire social media people who are very well trained and have a ton of expertise in helping you navigate that landscape.
Absolutely. Well, Samantha, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been super informative, and would love to have you back on sometime.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you so much, Sean. And thank you all so much for listening. Can't wait to hear all of your feedback. And please feel free to DM us, aka me, if you have any questions or want to chat about this more. I'm a nerd and could chat about this for days. So really appreciate it and excited to come back on in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you later. Hey, everybody. I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately called Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's hosted by John Lee Dumas, and it's available right now on the HubSpot Podcast Network. Entrepreneurs on Fire stokes inspiration and shares strategies to fire up your entrepreneurial journey and create the life that you've always dreamed of. It offers lots of energy, value, consistency, and it's for anybody who wants to learn more about entrepreneurship. It's super fast-paced and packed with valuable stories about entrepreneurs, their aha moments, their failures, and everything to what's working for them today. Recently, he had on this guest, Ashley Stahl, who talked all about her job at the Pentagon and how she evolved into becoming a top 100 TEDx speaker. She talks about evolving your brand from the ground up, leaning into the skills that you already have to build your brand, and also creating virality. It's a great listen. You should check it out. And you can listen to Entrepreneurs on Fire wherever you get your podcasts.